Quick question, in what world could anyone seriously have a problem with Chappell Roan setting out some boundaries over her personal space?
I don't care that abuse and harassment, stalking, whatever, is a normal thing to do to people who are famous or a little famous, whatever. I don't care that it's normal. I don't care that this crazy type of behavior comes along with the job, the career field I've chosen. That does not make it okay. That doesn't make it normal. It doesn't mean I want it. It doesn't mean that I like it. I don't want whatever the fuck you think you're supposed to be entitled to whenever you see a celebrity. I don't give a fuck if you think it's selfish of me to say no for a photo or for your time or for a hug. That's not normal. That's weird. It's weird how people think that you know a person just because you see them online or you listen to the art they make. That's fucking weird. I'm allowed to say no to creepy behavior, okay?
Chappell, I think you're fucking great. I'm sorry this is happening, and well done for speaking up. Just because someone makes music and performs on a stage, and just because someone is doing well at that job, doesn't mean people get to treat them however they want. In what world can anyone seriously have a problem with what Chappell Roan has said about fame and boundaries? Unfortunately, in this world, people have a problem with this. I've seen comments today saying that if you want to be a famous person or if you are in music, then this is what you get if it goes well. It's weird, isn't it? Don't you think that's weird?
That's fucking weird.
I have had the tiniest taste of this myself, and I didn't like it. I used to play bass for Popstars, and so I have been witness to this kind of thing up close. And then in my own solo career, I have experienced all sorts of people trying to touch me in venues up and down the land. So I have a vested interest in this topic, and I absolutely agree with what Chappell has said, and I think it's brilliant that someone of her fame and stature is saying it. Fundamentally, it's not okay to touch another person's body unless they explicitly say that you can. Hello? And it doesn't matter if you are only trying to be friendly or if it wasn't sexual or any reason at all. Because if that person isn't okay with you touching their body, don't touch them. I really hope that young people are growing up knowing this, because this sort of thing was hazy at best in the 90s when I was growing up. The price you pay to enter a gig only gives you the right to listen to and watch that gig. It doesn't also give you the right to hug the person on stage, to touch the person on stage, to grab them by the waist, which is something that's happened to me more times than I could possibly count. So many times that I actually developed a move. If I clocked someone walking towards me and I had a funny feeling that they were going to grab me by the waist to walk past, how has that become a thing? I had this thing I would do which was like, whoop, whoop, to stop them from doing it. It works really well, but I shouldn't have to do it, should I? Can't a person just walk around without being grabbed by strangers? And I've only ever played smallish gigs and been the centre of a very small amount of attention, so I cannot imagine what it feels like to be Chappell Roan at this point. And it's not just the touching, she's also talking about people taking pictures of her when she's just walking around minding her own business. And I can relate to that one as well, because there was this one time I got tickets to go and see Brett Anderson talking about his book Cold Black Morning, and I had to drive for about an hour from my house in Bristol to go to this place. It was at some arts theatre somewhere, and I was really excited because I love Brett Anderson and I love his book and I love Suede and I love blah blah blah. So anyway, I drove out, took my seat, settled in, ready for an entertaining Q&A talk thing on stage. And then something really weird happened. A guy in the row in front of me got his phone out and was holding it up at me, like that. And like I was saying, I'm a pretty small indie artist. If you know me, you know me, and if you don't, you really don't. So in the moment, it seemed rather arrogant for me to assume that this person was taking a photograph of me when, Brett Anderson was in the building. But I'm certain he was, and it made me feel fucking weird, because this guy was like 1.5 meters away from me, turned around in his seat, with his phone up like this in my direction. What am I supposed to do in that situation? I wasn't even there doing anything to do with the night. I wasn't performing, and it made me feel like a zoo animal. I couldn't relax for the rest of the evening because I thought this guy might be like taking a picture of me with like my face in repose watching Brett Anderson. Like, I just didn't feel like I had any privacy whatsoever. I'd just gone out for the evening to try and enjoy an event, and I couldn't because this person had made me feel uncomfortable. Aside from that personal experience, I have also seen it up close with some of the artists I used to play bass and sing for. I toured around Italy with Duncan James, and I'll never forget the sound of a crowd of young women screaming as they raced across the road en masse to scream and shout and bang on the van that me and the rest of the band were sitting in, waiting for Duncan to get in. That one was pretty frightening because I could see them running across the road towards us, not looking left or right, seemingly not caring if they were going to get run over. When I played with Chris Hardman, Lil Chris, we toured all around the UK and we went to Canada as well. And he was a proper pop star in the charts, and his audience screamed so loud and so high-pitched at him everywhere he went that we all had to get moulded earplugs so that it wouldn't, puncture our ears or something. And he was called Little Chris for a reason. He was quite small. So me, the rest of the band, and his security guy Darren would walk him in. I'd be on this side, Chris would be in the middle, someone else would be there, we'd have someone behind, someone in front, and we would just walk him through crowds like that. Because if people got a whiff of an idea that he was there, they would all start touching him, pulling him, trying to get him to talk to them, just grabbing onto him. It was so strange, honestly. And I could walk through the crowd no problem because no one cared who I was. But it just was so different for him, and it seemed so wrong that he couldn't just walk around normally. I just don't think any amount of money or fame or recognition for your musical work makes it okay for anyone in the world to touch you, pull at you, take a photo at close range without talking to you. Just exhibit this really weird behaviour that's become normal. I mean, I say this as I'm talking into a camera, sitting on my own in a room. I know that this is also a pretty weird thing to do, but I'm not hurting anyone else while I'm doing it. If you really love the person on the stage, why would you want to make them feel uncomfortable? Just calm down. Be cool. That's it. We fetishise fame, youth, beauty. We say that those things are things that we should all want, or that we should all respect, that we should all sort of bow down to in some way. You know what? Chappell Roan is a person, and she has absolutely every right to set out her boundaries about her own life and her own body. And while I'm not pleased that she felt the need to make those videos in the first place, I'm really glad she has, because I hope it starts some interesting conversations, and I hope it makes people think about their behaviour. Because, some of that behaviour is pretty weird. Just stop doing that. Thanks. As always, I'd love to know your thoughts. Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you for joining me. My coaster just fell off. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Tea and Empathy, rather off the cuff, late night edition. And I will see you in a future video. Take care, don't be weird, and I'll see you soon.